All right, let's get right into it. We're always talking about holding politicians accountable, but what does that actually look like in the real world? Well, today we're going to look at France's really unique and, yeah, pretty controversial answer to one of the biggest challenges a democracy can face. I mean, this is the core problem, right? If you make the process too political, it just becomes a weapon to attack your rivals. But if you make it just like any other court, you might completely miss the bigger picture. The insane pressures of actually running a country. It's like walking a tightrope between pure justice and messy politics. So, what did France do? Their solution was, well, it was pretty radical. Instead of trying to tweak an existing court, they just said, let's build a brand new one from scratch, just for this one job. And that court is called the Cour de Justice de la République, or CJR for short. Its entire reason for being is to be the one and only place where top government ministers can be put on trial for crimes they're accused of committing while in office. So yeah, this is definitely not your local courthouse. Now, this whole thing didn't just appear out of nowhere. You gotta look back to before 1993. The old system was this High Court of Justice, which was literally just politicians judging other politicians. I mean, you can guess how that went over, right? The criticism was obvious. It just looked like politicians protecting their own. So in '93, France went big, changed its constitution, and created the CJR, all in the hope of injecting some real judicial credibility into the process. Okay, so we've got this special court, but how does a case even get there? I mean, how does an accusation against some super powerful minister actually land in front of these judges? Let's trace the journey. And this is where it gets really interesting. Who can kick this whole thing off? Get this. Any person. Any citizen who believes they're the victim of a crime committed by a minister can file a complaint. That's a huge deal. That level of accessibility is built right into the system's DNA, to make sure power can be challenged from the bottom up. So once that complaint is filed, it doesn't just zoom straight to a trial. No. First, it goes to something called an inquiry commission. Think of it as a panel of top-tier professional judges. Their only job is to dig in, investigate the claim, and figure out if there's actually something there. And then they make the call, either toss the case out or give it the green light for a full trial at the CJR. This commission is absolutely key. It's basically a super important judicial filter. By making sure the first people to look at the case are actual experienced judges, the system tries to screen out all the nonsense, the frivolous lawsuits or the purely political attacks, before they can blow up into a big media spectacle. The goal is that only the cases with real legal legs are supposed to make it through. But what happens if a case does get through that filter? Well, that's when the minister comes face to face with a judging panel that is pretty unconventional, to say the least. And this strange mix of judges is really at the heart of what makes the CJR so fascinating. So the court that sits in judgment, it's made up of 15 people, just 15. And they're the ones who will decide the fate of one of the most powerful figures in the entire country. Okay, so you're probably thinking, 15 judges, so like 15 legal experts in black robes? Nope, not even close. Here's the kicker. 12 out of the 15, that is a massive 80%, are parliamentarians. They're elected politicians. Only 3 of them are actual professional senior judges. So what you get is this hybrid court. And the logic behind it is kind of like this. The 3 professional judges, they're there to be the legal experts, to make sure all the rules are followed. But the 12 politicians, they're supposed to bring the real-world context, an understanding of the political pressures and tough calls that come with governing. It's meant to give the final verdict a kind of democratic legitimacy. And that really is the core idea in a nutshell. It's a system built on the belief that you can't just judge these huge political decisions in some sterile legal bubble. The whole point is to try and blend that strict legal justice with a real-world understanding of what it means to govern. It's a balancing act, for sure, and a very controversial one. All right, so this mixed panel of judges and politicians, here's the whole case. Evidence, arguments, the whole shebang. But what happens when it's time to deliver the verdict? Well, it turns out even that has a unique twist. This court has a very special power up its sleeve. It's called an exemption of penalty, and it means exactly what it sounds like. The court can literally find someone guilty and then just decide not to give them any punishment at all. No fine, no jail time, not a thing. Just, you're guilty, but you can go. And if you think that sounds like some weird abstract legal theory, it's not. This has actually happened, and in a massive, globally watched case involving Christine Lagarde, when she was France's finance minister before she went on to lead the IMF. So, the CJR put her on trial for negligence, and what was the verdict? Guilty. They found her guilty. But then, the sentence. They gave her an exemption of penalty. So let that sink in. A guilty verdict from this special high court, but zero punishment. It didn't even leave a mark on her criminal record. The court's reasoning? They pointed to her strong international reputation and the fact that all this was happening while she was in the middle of battling a global financial crisis. And that just brings us right back to where we started, that big central question. Is a system like this, with this hybrid court and this kind of verdict, a sophisticated way to balance pure justice with the messy realities of politics, or is it just a political get-out-of-jail-free card, a way for the powerful to be found guilty without any real consequences, which kind of undermines the whole purpose of accountability in the first place? It's a fascinating system, and it definitely leaves us with a lot to think about.